Welcome back to Accept the Talent Films. I'm your host, Coach Evans, and today the Ravens hit the field for another week of OTAs. This is the first day of the second round of OTAs. And we're going to take a look at the news and notes that were reported from day 4, so to speak, of 2025 OTAs for the Baltimore Ravens. On two, ready, break. All right, let's dive right into it. But before we do that, tap that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you have not done so, and share. That's all we ask. We appreciate that. Anything above that is greatly appreciated, and we'll talk about the above that at the end of the video. But first off, we get a first look at Jenkins, who had to wait till after June 1 to officially sign his contract, and now he's into that defensive line room, and I think he's going to be a welcome addition. I think he's going to start off as the backup to Travis Jones, and being an older guy, played a boatload of snaps last year, so I think him playing lesser snaps will be a fresher Jenkins, and I think you guys will be surprised at what we may get out of Jenkins. He wasn't bad last year and played a ton of snaps, and I don't think he'll be asked to play that many snaps this year. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised for a backup one technique what we'll get out of Jenkins in 2025, especially with the reduced number of plays. You should get better effort and a good backup to Travis Jones. This one from Cordell. He says no Lamar, no Ronnie Stanley, no Justin Madubuike, no Kyle Hamilton, no Awuzie, no Van Noy or Bateman for practice today. And none of those guys missing bothers me. Lamar, Stanley, Madubuike, Hamilton, Awuzie, Van Noy, Bateman. None of those guys missing bothers me. And this is Jeff Rebec kind of with the same thing. He says no Sanusi Kane. He added to it. No Jake Hummel. Emory Jones. We know why Emory's not practicing. No Ben Cleveland. Falele is participating after not being on the field last week. So Falele was not there last week because of a physical issue. We're not sure what that physical issue is. I speculated on it last week, but that was totally speculation what I said last week. There's no real truth or reporting or nothing to what I said about them giving him a certain number. So again, I reiterate that was just me speculating. That is totally me guessing, completely guessing. But let's keep rolling. We get from Cordell showing Trent Simpson going through drills, and this is basically a stack and shed drill where Trent will fire off at the dummy, which kind of simulates the offensive lineman. Throwing that dummy out of the way is like the shedding of the offensive lineman, and then going to find the ball to make the tackle. That's what that is. That's what the last dummy is. That the pad is there to kind of soften the blow for the tackle, because you want to try to reduce injury as much as possible. So that's the lineman, shed, tackle. That's what it is. And that last one was Buchanan. That's Buchanan. I think that's his biggest competition. The first guy going, who just went right there, is Trent Simpson, and now this is Buchanan right there. Stack, shed, tackle. That's what you got the linebackers working right there. This is our first look at not our first look, but our first look of the day at Mike Green working the drill. Same drill that Jenkins was working, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, same drill. Just trying to stay low and work up under the shed. This is a drill that was new to me last year, and somebody, I can't remember who it was, but somebody explained to me kind of the gist of it. But being an offensive guy, some of these dark side drills I have to get explained to me. But this is trying to stay low and working the turn and your rip, and then exploding up out of there. All right, and that's pretty much all of the clips that we got. We got some pressers, and we'll take a look at what was said at the pressers and go from there. From Jeff Rebec, Monken said he doesn't see Hopkins as a number 3 receiver. He sees it more as the Ravens have 3 starting wide receivers in Hopkins, Flowers, and Bateman. Respectfully, I can say that. Respectfully, I can agree with that. D-Hop's reputation and what he's done in the league doesn't warrant him the label number 3 receiver. but I think he'll be used as a third receiver in this offense. But he definitely, you don't have to label him number 3 receiver. And the way we use guys, it's gonna be tough to kind of label him number 3 receiver. Now with what's the guy last year? Who was 50? Aguilar. You definitely could put that on him because Aguilar has been a journeyman and he's never been like the guy. But I'm sorry. But with D-Hop, the label doesn't necessarily have to fit. And this is from Jonah Schaefer. He said, Todd Monken on Zay Flowers building this Pro Bowl season. Well, we just got to give him the ball more. He's unbelievable with the ball in his hands. He expects them to take another leap year in 2025. Now, with that being said, last year I predicted that Lamar would have a boatload of numbers and nobody would have 1,000 yards. But if somebody had 1,000 yards, it would be Zay. And Zay did end up with just over 1,000 yards. I'm going to go a little further this year. And I know it's early to do predictions, but I think Lamar's going to have another crazy numerical season. But I think Bateman and Zay get 1,000 yards this year. I think both of those guys get 1,000 yards this year. I don't think Zay goes for 1,200. I think he floats just over 1,000 yards like he did this year. But I think Bateman jumps to probably right around that same number. I expect both of them to be right around 1,100 yards, give or take some. You know, no more than 1,200, no less than 1,000 for both of those guys. And I think, you know, with the route running that we all know that Bateman can do, I think that's been put to bed about Bateman not being a route runner. We know how good of a route runner Bateman is, and it's just with him, you know, getting his confidence back, and I think he got that. Had a bunch of touchdowns last year, 7 if I'm not mistaken. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. I think Bateman had 7 touchdowns, but 1,000 yards, another 7 to 10 touchdowns again for Bateman, and I see the same thing for Zay as well. The pieces are there, people. The pieces are there. They just got to be put together and used right, and they got to be executed. So the coaches, you know, got to use them right. Players got to execute. The pieces are definitely there. All right, let's take a look at the notes from today's practice from Ryan Mink and of BaltimoreRavens.com. It says offensive coordinator Todd Monken plans to keep a healthy Zay Flowers very busy in 2025. Following Tuesday's OTA practice, Flowers left and he felt no ill effects from the knee injury that sidelined him for both the Ravens playoff games last season. Flowers said, "My knee feels great. I feel 100%. I feel like I'm ready to go. Ready for the season, no limits." That means Flowers' role could become even bigger in his third season working with Monken. Flowers led the Baltimore Ravens in catches with 74 and receiving yards with 1,059, which is kind of what I said a minute ago, just over 1,000 yards. So that's the proof right there, 1,059 in 2024, while becoming the first Ravens wide receiver to make the Pro Bowl at the position. However, Flowers is just 24 years old, still learning some of the subtle nuances of playing wide receiver in the NFL. Flowers is a relentless receiver who never seems to tire, and Monken plans to take advantage of that skill set even more. Monken just said you got to give him the ball more. He's an unbelievable football player. Not only an outside receiver, he has elite route running skills, but he's unbelievable with the ball in his hands. So you have a guy that really plays 2 spots. He can be outside and inside. Very interchangeable, very versatile receiver. You can do him with quick screens. You can do gadget stuff with him, and he can also go down the field and run routes. If you've seen him, you know, coming out of college, they used to use him as a deep ball guy, and he's shown some of that with the Baltimore Ravens as well. So he's pretty much all around, and he ended it with saying, when you make the Pro Bowl, you're an All-Pro. You're pretty good. You know, Zay talked as well. He says, according to Flowers, and this he's talking about Lamar, franchise quarterback Lamar Jackson is already thinking about taking team bonding to another level in 2025. This year, he wants to do a lot more meetings. He wants to do team stuff, do a lot more personal stuff with us, just to get that team camaraderie to a good level. And that's an always slept on component of any team. How well you get along with the other players on the team. Now, do you have to get along with your coworkers in a team setting? No, you don't. But I genuinely think it helps. That's a question that I want to know how you guys feel. Put that down in the comment section. Do you guys feel that it helps when you get along with the other players on the team, or is it okay to have that just work relationship, and as long as we get the work done, that's good. Do you think that's a conducive to winning that way, or do you need to have some kind of off the field camaraderie to be a championship caliber football team? It says, as we've done in the past, Jackson and Flowers have linked up for workouts this offseason in South Florida, and Flowers said those extra sessions are always beneficial. It's just getting our timing down. Flowers said, like we're running routes, he'll say, run it this way, or I like the way you ran it this way. It's talking. It's it's talking a lot and detailing the small things that he wants to get down. And that's always a good thing. When you can get with the quarterback and you can kind of get on the same page before you actually get to practice. That way, once you get into practice, it's more fine tuning and, it's more reps on what you guys did on your own. That's why you get the ball. That's simply, that's how you get the ball. And some people didn't understand that, and some people probably still don't understand that. But if, as a quarterback, I can trust you and you do extra work with me, away from the game, that's how I build trust with you. Even though it ain't mandatory, that's how you get the goddamn ball. That's how you get the ball. I don't know why I got that Jenkins going right there. That was from my previous video. Let me get that off. Sorry, but that's how you get the ball. I don't understand why some people don't understand that, but that's the roundup. Not the roundup. That's the recap from OTAs from Ryan Mink's perspective on 6/3/2025. The first OTA of the second round of OTAs for the Baltimore Ravens. And here's a little more detail of what went on. The Ravens kicked off their second week of organized team activities without quarterback Lamar Jackson on the field, which left the start of the rookie kicker competition still in the spotlight. Tyler Loop and John Horland went a combined 6 for 6 on live kicks during Tuesday's practice session. Loop hit from 28, 30, and 32 yards. Then Horland connected from 34, 36, and 42 yards. Loop and Horland traded days kicking last week during OTAs, but that changed this week as the competition to replace Justin Tucker heats up. With Jackson not being present, new backup quarterback Cooper Rush took the action with the starters and continued his process of getting up to speed with the offense. He made some nice throws down the sideline. Offensive coordinator Todd Monken said he's not worried about Jackson's absence, which none of us should be at this time. It is what it is. He's vet now, third year in offense. It is what it is. When they interviewed Todd afterwards, he said, "I always feel good about Lamar. He comes in ready. He loves to play football. He loves his teammates. He loves the Ravens. He'll be ready to go, and we'll be ready to go against Buffalo come Sunday night." But here's some more notes from Tuesday's OTAs practice. He says Andrew Voorhees ran with the starting offense with Ben Cleveland not present. Left tackle Ronnie Stanley was also not there, which meant new veteran offensive tackle Joe Noteboom stepped into his spot. So what I'm thinking today, it was Noteboom, Voorhees, Linderbaum, Valele, because Valele was back, and Rosengarten. The next note says, get it from behind my head. Outside linebacker Odafe Owe showed that he's still moving well with his increased weight, sniffing out and stuffing a screen to running back Keaton Mitchell at the line of scrimmage. So with the increased girth that Odafe Owe has put on, if he can still move and still run around and do the things that he was doing earlier, that's going to be a plus for him. And I think he made a good point when he talked last week about the added weight helping him finish sacks. That's a key thing, because there were times where, and we all know it, that he got basically won his matchup but couldn't finish the sack. And so hopefully that increased weight, that increased muscle mass will help him finish the sack with getting guys like a Josh Allen down or other guys that, bigger quarterbacks and whatnot. So hopefully that increased weight will help him with that, and he can go from 10 sacks to 15 or whatever. Now, I'm willing to bet 15 is that number that's in his head that he won't tell anybody. I'm gonna put my 2 cents on 15. What number do you think Odafe Owe has in his head for his sack goal this year? More notes from Mink. He says offensive lineman turned undrafted rookie fullback Lucas Scott caught a pass in the flat during one-on-ones. Undrafted outside linebacker Chandler Martin nearly came up with the pick for the second time during OTAs this far. That's the one from Memphis, if I'm not mistaken. That's the UDFA linebacker from Memphis. I need to go look at some tape on Chandler Martin. Y'all remind me to go look up some Chandler Martin stuff. I got it on the Patreon, or I got the kid from Iowa on the Patreon, one of the two. Tight end Isaiah Likely made 2 long receptions down the sideline from Cooper Rush. Cornerback Jalen Norman Davis, IR. You know, we always got to add the IR to it. Made a nice play in the end zone pylon, breaking up a pass intended for DeAndre Hopkins. Norman Davis, IR, continued to see a lot of action with the starters, with the Woozier out again. He was sick last week. So Jalen Norman Davis, IR, you know, I guess according to Mink, had a productive practice, had a nice play versus D-Hop, but he's getting some reps since Woozier is out, and he was sick last week. I'm not sure what the issue was today. The last nugget that Ryan Mink dropped for us, it says rookie safety Malachi Starks closed quickly when it looked like Rush had an easy touchdown to fullback Patrick Ricard during a red zone drill. Starks made Rush hesitate, and he ended up throwing an incompletion out of the back of the end zone. So it's always good when we hear our rookies making plays in 11-on-11 settings. Even though to some it don't mean much, I feel like when you hear their name or see reporters talk about the rookies in this session, it means they're learning the playbook and starting to process the information that comes with it. Because learning the playbook, you're gonna play slow because you're thinking a lot. Once you know your assignment, you start to play faster, and then once it becomes second nature, your play speed really picks up. More and more becomes second nature, and it's not like muscle memory, but it is like muscle memory, because once you hear the call and you know I got this assignment, and then you know what your adjustments are when they line up in certain things with that assignment, you can play faster. Because the first thing is just learning the assignment. The second thing is learning the variables of the assignment. Then the third thing is executing all those different things. So that's, you know, when you see Starks making plays and you hear Mike Green making plays, or you hear any of these young guys making plays, you can see, well, you can tell that's them, you know, their athletic ability coming through, and that's them trying to learn the system or learning the system and starting to implement their athletic prowess into whatever scheme they're running at practice. And that's what I have for you guys today on June 3rd, 2025, with the second week of OTAs for the Baltimore Ravens. What do you guys think that sack number is that Odafe Oweh is hiding from the rest of us? Put it in the comment section. If you like the video, like the video. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when the rest of these videos drop. If you want to support the channel, you can do that by clicking the link in the description to take you to the donation page, or you can do a super thanks, or you can join the Patreon at patreon.com/sipthetally. Peace.